What's up guys, TechTalks here, and right here in front of me is the iPhone 6s Plus clone. But the question is, how does it match up against the real deal? We shall find out. Alright, so this is the clone that was bought very few days back, and I wanted to see how this matched up against the actual iPhone 6s Plus. So without further ado, let's unbox this, shall we? Alright, so as you can see in the box, it looks very similar to the real box, but I guess the fonts are a little bit off, but I'm not so sure about that. Well, this is a 128GB model, as you can see, and pretty much everything seems real except for the fonts though. But other than that, everything seems to be okay. So as you can see here, the iPhone 6s Plus seem to be indented into the box. Well, we should unbox this and see how it is. Okay. Wow. I don't know, but it is very eerily similar to the actual iPhone 6s Plus. I'm not sure if you can notice that, but anyway. What the? Okay, so the box had a gold color in it, but this one is supposedly rose gold. Not sure about that, but okay, I'll take that as a yes. So as you can see, it's not actual rose gold, it's just a muted pink dye that has been put onto the device. Now I'm not sure what it's supposed to signify, but what I can tell you it is very similar. Now looking at the back, it looks very similar to the actual deal. However, if you pay close attention, then you will find out there are some things that are a little bit off. The first thing I noticed was the Apple logo. As you can see, it's not flush and into the back display. It's a little indented, which means it is also a little bit shinier. So I guess that is one flaw in which you can be able to use to spot a fake. But then anything other than that is, I think it's the camera. It has a very thin black border, unlike the actual 6s Plus. Then we have the LTE bands, they look normal. And the other thing I found out was the fonts. As you can see, the labels, they are pretty much off. I mean, the labels are pretty much smaller than the real deal, in which the labels are pretty big. And apart from that, I think everything's okay. Alright, so looking at the front, everything looks eerily similar. But what I can see is that the little ring over here, it is a little bit flatter. And I guess the buttons are very loose actually, and apart from that there doesn't seem to be anything much. Alright, so we powered on the device, and I guess we'll be looking at the software, but meanwhile let's look at the hardware. Alright, so as you can see down, you have the typical speakers, the lightning connector port which is used to charge the device, and even the 3.5mm headphone jack. Well, at least that's still there. But apart from that, yeah, we even have a microphone, as you can see here. Then I guess that's pretty much it about the hardware. Apart from that, the only thing I saw was that the buttons are loose, the silver link is a little flat, then at least it has a headphone jack, then the Apple logo is a little off, the fonts as well, even the camera. And I guess that's pretty much it about the clone. Now we get a lot of more things inside of the box. Now I am having a pretty hard time getting it out, but I guess now we're in. So we have the custom Apple literature, that's what many people call it. Okay, so apparently if this is going to have Apple stickers, it's going to be good. Nope. So as you can see, we have papers here that are basically instruction manuals. I'm not sure about that, but apparently what we can tell you about this is pretty much cheap material. Okay, so we have earpods. Now, not sure what I can say to that, but I guess having earpod clones are good. Not so sure about that. We might be testing out this audio later on, but apart from that, we look at the other stuff. We have the power brick here, which is meant for charging the device, and looking at how this thing works and how this thing looks like. It doesn't look like much. I mean, it does feel cheap. Already we have a little bit of dust here, and finally we have the lightning cable. Oh, just take it out like that. Okay, so it is very short compared to the actual lightning cable. So my mind already says don't do this. Now let's go deep into the software. Now let's take a look at the actual specifications of the iPhone 6s Plus clone. Now if you're wondering about the display, it is a 1920 by 1080 display resolution. The display is bulging out, as you can see, and it is said to be running iOS 9.3.2. But after further research, I found out that it's basically a skinned version of Android 5.1. Now, this device has no 3D touch, which I'm very disappointed about. Now, as you can see, there is a gap in between the screen and the phone, and because of this, when I shake the device, there is a lot of sound being produced, and I think this is mainly because of the internals that are shaking in the inside. And of course, it has many of the apps which are skinned to look like the iOS version. For example, the App Store is basically Play Store skinned. And I don't know why, but it is very buggy and it has very frequent ads on the web browser and on the App Store. Now the CPU speed is said to be 1.04 GHz per second. It has the Mali T720 GPU and has 909 MB memory. Now the Geekbench scores are 519 single core and 1480 multi-core, which means that it's not an octa-core CPU, it is a quad-core CPU. And according to my experience, it is very slow and unresponsive most of the time. And what I'm very surprised about is that the Touch ID on this device beats the actual iPhone 6s Plus to the punch. And if you even look at this thing, how speedy it is for its Touch ID, man, it is absolutely an embarrassment for Apple. Now, of course, there are no Apple stickers into the box, which makes it a bad clone. The earpod clones do sound okay. I mean, they're not completely bad, but apparently the only problem I have is shoving them inside my ear. Now, if you guys have been looking at this device, it looks very eerily similar to the HTC One M8. Now, even the build quality is scary similar. Now, it has an 8 megapixel camera rear and a 3 megapixel camera on the front, and it can record up to 720p video. Now, these are pretty decent camera specs, but I think it could use a little bit much more than that. Then it has a 3GB RAM compared to the actual iPhone 6s Plus's 2GB RAM. But then again, as I mentioned, the clone is very slow, buggy and laggy. It comes with the options of 8GB, 6GB and 32GB of internal storage. So basically the 128GB was a cheat. It comes with a 5.5-inch display with IPS technology. And the last thing on our list is that it's more heavier than the iPhone 6s Plus. Now, how does this compare to the actual iPhone 6s Plus? Well, let's take a look at the specs. So the specs are having a Retina display 5.5 inch, having 3D touch, a multi-touch display with IPS technology, having the same resolution as the clone surprisingly, and it has an A9 chip with 64-bit architecture, has 12 megapixel rear camera with the live photos capability and 5 megapixel for the front camera. It has optical image stabilization and true tone flash, and it can record 4K video up to 30 frames per second. It has slow-mo and time-lapse video capabilities. It has an inbuilt GPS and GLONASS, and it can run up to iOS 10. It has an LED backlit IPS LCD display, and it has an ion strengthened glass, making it more durable than the clone. It has a dual-core processor with 1.84 GHz per second speed. It has a PowerVR GT7600 6-core graphics GPU. I know, those are a lot of words and numbers being hurled at your face, but please do cope with me. And like I mentioned, it has a 2 GB of RAM, but the OS is more optimized for the speed. And finally, it has NFC capabilities. However, it is only used for the Apple Pay. So there you have it, guys. So now you know how the clone compares with the actual model. So I'm not sure I can see anyone buying the clone, but if you're into the clone, well, what kind of a person are you? Apart from that, I think this is one of the best iPhone 6s Plus clones that I have seen. My favorite part is about the Touch ID, including how fast it is compared to the actual iPhone 6s Plus. So hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to this channel and I'll catch you guys later.